I've been dying to ask you, you've played so many real-life characters, Basquiat, Martin Luther King, Muddy Waters. Is it harder for you to to play a real-life character, or to start from a character that is fiction?
Yeah, I mean, there's an additional responsibility if you're gonna recreate the story of someone's life. Yeah, I kind of tend to take that reasonably seriously, and try my best to at least find the essence of who they were, and to research as much as I possibly can to find them. And in the case of Muddy Waters, there's books out there, biographies and the like, but again, read those, but really just listening to the music, finding him in his music. So much music that he put out. And again, his language is one that I was familiar with, that language of the South, my family, those rhythms and tones and things like that. I also think that he and those guys, the guys that, his colleagues, think they're artistic superheroes. So yeah, there was a real sense of homage to him. I mean, Muddy Waters couldn't read or write. He was illiterate. And basically, he writes the music that determines the outcomes of modern music across the world. Couldn't read or write. I mean, if you listen to his collection of music, listen to Led Zeppelin, you'll see incredible amount of references. In fact, there was a lawsuit at one point. But I mean, he's the beginning of rock and roll.
Yeah.
He's the first to set up a quartet with an electric guitar. I mean, could not read or write and change the course of music to this day. When the Berlin Wall fell, they were playing rock and roll because, those men like Muddy Waters who were writing the blues, the early blues, they knew what it was to aspire toward freedom. Mm-hmm. And they expressed it through that music, through this American art form.
Yeah. James Bond, Felix Leiter.
Yeah.
There have been so many actors before you that play that role, and besides Jack Lord, who was terrific and made an impression, everybody else was forgettable. But you stood out. What was it? And it's not that big of a role, but you made such a huge impression. What was it about you and connecting to that character?
Well, my agent, Jimmy, who is here tonight, sent me that script. He said, yeah, Jimmy Darmody. He called me one day. He said, yeah, the Bond people want to talk to you about the CIA guy, And I got the script, and I guess I go, cool, yeah, And then I was like, what, Felix Leiter? Oh, for me, it was Jack Lord.
Yeah,
it was Jack Lord. Jack Lord was like one of the coolest guys who ever walked the planet. I mean, he was like approaching Miles Davis levels of cool for me as a kid. So I was a massive James Bond fan. I just wanted to be a part of it and to play that role that he had played. I was like, yeah, bring that. So I was really, just doing my version of the Jack Lord cool. Yeah.
And tell us about the evolution of the relationship between you and Daniel Craig throughout the 3 films.
Well, yeah, it was wonderful to go on that run with him. In fact, we were doing a film together when he was cast as Bond. We were doing a movie called The Invasion. We were in DC and Baltimore together, and so I was with him at prior to the beginning of his run. And so it was really nice to work with him over the course of those films. And it was really cool to watch him grow, not only with the role, but with the responsibility. I mean, it's an iconic character, maybe the most successful franchise in the history of film. It spanned, how many decades, since the 60s. And to watch him initially anxious, as anyone would expect, about how he would do it, to watch him go from that into the leader that he became within the franchise was really wonderful to witness, and super proud of him, because it's a monstrous undertaking and with a lot of expectations, and he did it with a wonderful degree of grace.
Sorry to interrupt, but it was also fascinating to watch you grow in the role where you became an equal to him. You both are loners, and you seem on screen, every time I saw you, you were like an equal to James Bond.
Yeah, well, I thought that was important. It was that, there be a kind of trust between the two of them, and that they each had something to offer one another, and that, I actually have over time gotten to know a few of those guys who do this work. Those guys are not to be toyed with. They're real capable people, and so he can't be just like as Brando says in Apocalypse Now, an errand boy sent by grocery clerks. He's a real guy. Yeah. So I think that was important for Daniel's character as well, that there be a real sense of trust and camaraderie, and two members of this brotherhood. I thought that was important.
And in the meantime, you started working on 2 HBO major mini series, Boardwalk and Westworld. Tell us about your ride, in particular the insane ride that is Westworld. How did you keep all that straight and coming in? And I can imagine that it was not shot in sequence.
Oh, sequence? Yeah. Oh man, yeah. It took a calculator sometimes. I mean, we would shoot, I think over the span of a couple of months, I shot from maybe 6 different episodes. Well, there was one season when Anthony Hopkins, of course, I think it was his last season, and he was going off to do King Lear. So I think the first 2 months we filmed all of his stuff. And man, I was dancing around that script. Oh my God, yeah, it was a lot. But what it taught me was something that I use to this day on sets that was invaluable to me. We shot the equivalent of maybe 5 or 6 movies in the course of 6 months. We shot long hours, 17 hours, 18. I remember we shot 21-hour day once. We loved it, and it was complex, and we were working at, toward a high level, and there were big expectations, and it taught me to work efficiently. Nobody wants to be on a movie set for 18 hours, particularly not the grips, not the turn, nobody. And nobody wants you wasting their time. They want to show up, they want to get the shot, get the next ones, do them well, move on, get the day, and go home. So it taught me to work efficiently, to work at a pace, to drive things. And when I shot American Fiction, it's like, let's drive it. We made it every day. First time director. No, we're getting these shots. It taught me just so much, on top of being a part of this incredible story. I think Westworld in many ways is a documentary about the nature of the technology that we have all become increasingly merged to, increasingly addicted to. The nature of the technology, and also the nature of the hands that wield the technology. If you watch that, and I know it's dense stuff, but Jonah Nolan and Lisa Joy really were visionary in their storytelling. And they were holding a mirror up to the present day in a really exciting way, and also somewhat scary way. Yeah.
Let's move on and take a look at OG from 2018 and the Batman 2022.